Hey guys, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. That was a quick intro, because let's get started. Lana Skye. Let's show her, them, who the accomplice may be. And it's obviously her, because she said so. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Someone just slaps himself in the forehead. Oh, wait! You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Come on. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy. You have quite imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I control Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Oof. What a picture. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want to get hurt. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? Exactly, he's threatening people in public, in court. What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? Order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency to accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder. That it's impossible. Why would you say it's impossible? He's human. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. Like, he said it, I'm just saying it. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. He's right, though. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through this with us. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. Exactly. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. Oh, dang it. Shoot. Oh, his ID number, that's it. Okay, list of evidence, cause his, oh no, wait, nah, that's not it. Which one is it? Evidence room floor plans? ID card report, this one. Right? This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777, I think. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to reopen. The 7-digit code. 7-digit? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was the 7s, the same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you went to the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, we got him sweating for the first time. Order, order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense search of my office was in violation of regulations, and that would demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Oh yeah, we don't give a shit if we get in trouble. Is basically what we're saying. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You went to the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you went to the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do in the evidence room. That's strange. Detective Goodman would have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. For the locker, he couldn't open the locker without him. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. Oof, a lot of objections. It's crazy back and forth action. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on that day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Miss Wright, I'm going to have asked you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Oh, damn. Not that far. Actually, this, right? A handwritten document to date to be submitted to the chief because he lost his ID, so he would have to actually post this, show it to him because he couldn't remember his ID. So he's like, oh, F it, let me go tell the chief I just lost my ID and he'll help me get the stuff because, yeah. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh? Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Whew. Big statement right there. Hold on. Let me guess what you're trying to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman? Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Whoa. He had lightning coming out of him. That was pretty freaking nuts. Chief Gant, you didn't. Get out of this one, sucker. The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contact Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone is aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take care of this dead body over here at the prosecutor's office? I don't think so. Chief Gant, you let all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was useless, clues just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Is it this? Evidence from a past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. Maybe that's what he did, because they found they found Goodman in Edgeworth's car, right? So maybe they put it in tongue-tied because I am thinking at high speed right now. They put Goodman in Edgeworth's car. He told him to bring the stupid-ass screwdriver back to the prosecutor's office, and so that he can stay at the office and no one would think it's him. Then when he's there, then Lana can just come and take out the car when Edgeworth is doing whatever. Who knows what? Let's present this. I hope this is it. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Now he knows that he was being puppeted too. Oh man, Illuminati. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Oh my heavens. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one possible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took of the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was actually exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe. Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Wright, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for this early bird special. This guy is literally running away. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented by now. Well, You think I have had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. David Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusation against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Ted Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do you have any concrete proof? Tune in next time, guys, for more Phoenix Wright, when we'll see if we have any proof or not. I don't know. We should look, though, after. So, yeah, tune in next time. And we'll try to stop this guy from running away, because he's such a bastard and I hate his guts.
何それは all day anime?